Hello and welcome back to the Skip Review Podcast, episode 233. Brought to you guys by Chinook City. As always, use the code the Skip Review for a 10% discount at checkout there. And Brett, we had a lot of news this last couple of days since we've hopped on here. And this might be the most happy we'll be in an episode in a very long time. Probably our most happy episode of the offseason. Obviously, both of our teams have made big roster changes. Obviously, the Yankees finally make a move. Obviously, the Mets get 5 of their 26 guys on the roster in a 4-day span. So, I mean, there's a lot of news and a lot of good baseball talk for New York fans. How are you, Brett?
Dude, I'm doing good. Better now that the Yankees have finally made a move in an attempt to win a World Series in 2026. But let's start with your Mets because David Stearns making moves from the dinner table. I want you to talk a little bit about that. But we got 2 massive moves, and one of them was a guy that we brought up on this podcast multiple times, and I said, I'm a little confused by the news with the Luis Robert Jr. trade. So let's start there. Let's start with the outfielder.
Yeah, so Luis Robert Jr. got traded to the New York Mets for Luis Angel Acuna and a pitcher, Truman Pauly, their 12th round pick from this year. They overslotted them in the draft. And that's all it took to get Luis Robert Jr. I know it kind of seems very light, especially for a guy who has superstar potential and he's coming off 2 down years. But, I mean, the value's just been really low for him right now, especially when he's making $20 million a year. But, I mean, just as a Mets fan, I have wanted Luis Robert Jr. since the before even the trade deadline last year. I had been pushing for him to be the Mets center fielder. I went into the offseason saying I want Luis Robert Jr. to be my center fielder, especially after Kyle Tucker didn't happen. I didn't want Cody Bellinger whatsoever. I've told you that many times. I've been very anti-Cody Bellinger. I wanted Luis Robert Jr., as funny as that sounds. A big part of that was because they can put Carson Bench, the top prospect in left field, isn't play center field for you at all, and you get great defense, Luis Robert Jr. I know he's been pretty bad the last couple of years. I mean, he hasn't even put up two WAR in the last 2 years combined. But, I mean, this guy, I mean, he underperformed all of his advanced metrics last year. He's always going to crush left-handed pitching, no matter what you're going to do. I mean, even if he doesn't step up like he has, if he plays the same way he has the last few years, he's still going to crush left-handers. He's still going to steal 20 or 30 bags for you, and he's still going to play very, very good defense out there in center field. So the floor is pretty solid there. It's just going to be how well can he hit the right-handers? Can he stay healthy? And I'm all bought in on Luis Robert Jr., even just getting out of Chicago and leaving a team that you just kind of tell he wasn't really bought in very much at the end of that. I mean, he was the one guy in the lineup that teams were circling for 2 years saying, this is the guy we don't want to pitch right here. Obviously, he has a chase issue, so that's going to buy into that a little bit more, so they're going to chase there. And then he didn't seem bought in at all. You get him on a team where he's going to be in the 6 or 7 hole. I mean, he's going to be that deep in the lineup there. And then he's going to be bought in, too. Now he's on a championship caliber team. I think the buy-in's going to be there. I'm all bought in on Luis Robert Jr. this year.
Yeah. Luis Robert Jr., we brought him up because I said the White Sox should wait till he gets hot. And yes, there's no guarantee that would happen. But one would have to assume, based off the talent that we've seen, that this guy can get hot for a series of games and maybe flip him early. No one says you have to wait till the trade deadline in order to make a move. What happens if Luis Robert Jr. comes out of the gates firing through 20 games and the White Sox call up, the Mets and say, hey, you guys need an outfielder. You guys are 9 and 12, 11, 9 and 12 over your last 21 games. Like, do you want to take a shot on Robert? And then you trade him, get more prospects out of it instead of 2. Because, what was this, 2-3 years ago where we were talking about Luis Robert commanding a haul of prospects in order to acquire? And that's as late as 2023. In 2023, he was an all-star, MVP 12, won a Silver Slugger. Like, the guy batted .264, which is but he also had 36 doubles that year. Like, home runs, he had 38. He scored 90 runs. Like, this guy's a dog when he's playing. He's younger than Bellinger. They have the same amount of Gold Gloves. Luis Robert Jr. has one less All-Star appearance, and I get Bellinger does have the coveted MVP award. So, either or, I think that the Mets, whether it was Bellinger or Robert Jr., I think they are adding, and this is going to be a positive thing for the Mets. I just question why now? For a guy with so much pedigree, and we've seen it, that you could really trade, I just feel like this is selling low on your stock here if I'm an owner.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good point there too, especially because, like you were saying, a few years ago, or even last year, 2 years ago, just how much he was going to command at the time, even when he was just slightly going downhill. And he seemed like he's been on the trade market for about 2 years now. Like, it's just been nonstop. When's he going to get traded? And they've always just held on to him. So it was just kind of weird that you held on to him for 2 years to just get Luis Angel Acuna and an arm back. Obviously, I don't know much about the arm. He could be a very good arm down the road. I don't know that. But you get Luis Angel Acuna, who's utility man on this team. I mean, right away he's going to slot in probably in center field for the White Sox, which is really good. You have him there, but he's out of options, so he's got to stick on the roster. He's DFA'd, and he's not going to be – the ceiling's not really there. I'm kind of not really a Luis Angel Acuna believer if he's an actual everyday player. I think he's a great bench piece to have, but obviously the White Sox saw something in them. They've liked him for a while. It was discussed at the deadline this year that they were really liked Luis Angel Acuna, so it was a little weird to see them just kind of do that now, but as a Mets fan, I'm very excited, and I'm very happy they did.
You have to be excited about this. Like, how are you not? And this was the guy that we've said it, and we've had conversations offline that I was like, if the Yankees do not get Belly back, they need to call the White Sox up, give them some prospects for their whole prospect movement that's going on the south side of Chicago, and acquire Robert Jr. He playing in a small field ballpark. We need outfield depth if Belly left, and it's like you need someone who's not on the the other side of 30, and Robert Jr. was that guy. So kudos to the Mets. Let's talk though about the second move the Mets made this week, which I think this was more likely to happen for the Yankees. And they missed out on Freddie Peralta. It seemed like a lot of teams were in because Peralta's only getting $8 million this year, and he's a free agent next year. Mets snag him, bolster their rotation, and I think the Mets are doing all the right things this week. And what would you say? Where was David Stearns when he made this trade?
I mean, yeah, if anyone didn't know, Matt Arnold, the Brewers president of baseball operations, came out last night and he said, I'm pretty sure I interrupted his wedding anniversary dinner. And David Stearns' media availability today came out and he said, yes, I was at dinner when these calls started last night. I was at my 9-year anniversary dinner, and kind of told Arnold, let me get home from dinner first, and then we can finish this deal. Got home from dinner and made the trade happen. So kind of just shows the dedication you have to do this job. I mean, there was an article from The Athletic a while back, just the craziest places people have made deals. I recommend go checking that out. But there's true dedication to this. But I mean, the deal itself on Freddie Peralta, I mean, this is huge for the New York Mets. If you follow me on Twitter or you listen to this podcast, you know that I was so against signing a starting pitcher this offseason. I was always saying since day one, they needed to trade for a starting pitcher to be a frontline starter in this rotation. The pitching was the demise last season. Yes, they're going to have some bounce backs, hopefully, like a healthy Shamanai, a healthy Kodai Senga. That'd be huge for him. The team feels very confident in them, but you needed someone else to pair up there with Nolan McLean at the front of the rotation. You can't rely on Nolan McLean, who's I know phenomenal, to be a top 15 to 20 pitcher in baseball. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket on a rookie, and then if he goes down, the season's over. So this was great ad by the New York Mets there, and I just love that they actually acquired him through trade. But they paid a hefty price, though. I mean, you give up Jet Williams, who was knocking on the big leagues right there, a number 3 prospect in the team, and Brandon Sproat, who's he's going to be a guaranteed big league starter, I would say. It just depends, is he going to be a 3 or is he going to be a 5? But the Brewers get a really good return here. I know people are going to hate on the Brewers and say, why are you trading with your superstar? That's what's wrong with sports. That's how they operate, and they're getting 12 years of control of 2 very, very good prospects who are most likely going to be major leaguers for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Number one, I feel like the Mets, outside of really Bellinger, which who knows if the Mets really, how much they wanted Bellinger, right? They were more in on Tucker than Bellinger. The Mets seem to be, they're right now, to me, they're getting any player they want, essentially, outside of what the Dodgers are wanting. And the Mets are beating the Yankees to almost every guy that the Yankees, and I don't know, there's some of these relievers, obviously we know, like Devin Williams, and how much interest was there from the Yankees on each and every single one of these guys. And we're talking the Clay Holmes, the Juan Sotos, obviously there was $700 million worth of, want from the Yankees. So the Mets are right now taking my team, the New York Yankees, to school when it comes to going after players in the market. Obviously, they didn't have to sign Peralta. They made a deal. That being said, I'm pretty happy because I'm going through my baseball cards right now, and I'm debating on selling Jet Williams all of his first Bowmans. And I'm like, oh, well, now he's a Brewer, so I kind of have more faith that his stock's going to go up. So happy about that. But 2 massive, what's the rotation now look like? It's got Peralta, you got McLean, Who else am I? Just run through the Mets rotation real quick for me. I want to.
I mean, right now they got about like 7 big league caliber arms right now, but the rotation as with slot right now. I was talked about this today with a few buddies, and I think 6 man's probably the where they're going to go with the rotation right now. Obviously, you have Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean at the top there, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, and Kodai Senga. I mean, that's a pretty solid rotation now. I know it was pretty middle to back before, but if you get a bounce back from a Manaea and a Senga, and you have Freddie Peralta in there, that can be a very good rotation. And that's not even mentioning Jonah Tom, who's going to one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. Well, I know he's struggling out to the big leagues last year, but he's going to need some time in the minor leagues to develop, work on some more stuff. But if someone goes down, you put a top prospect in baseball up there to fill the rotation there. So I really like where the Mets rotation is at right now. Even the roster as a whole. I mean, I just think the Mets offseason's done now. I mean, they don't need to make a single move, and I'm more than happy with this roster.
The other thing is they didn't have to get rid of Nolan McLean in order to acquire, 2 All-Stars. And they didn't have to get rid of Carson Benj either. So I'm going to give my shouts to, or Jonah Tong. They didn't get, or Jacob Reamer, who had a fantastic year down. He's a third baseman, first baseman, had a great year last year. I think this was really good, great stuff from David Stearns, just wheeling and dealing here. Let's talk about Belly for a little bit. So Cody Bellinger does what we all knew was inevitable. He ended up agreeing to a deal with the Yankees, 5 years, $162.5 million. He's getting a $20 million signing bonus and a full no-trade clause, all part of this agreement. On top of that, the contract will include opt-outs 2027 and 2028 with no deferrals in payment. We knew the opt-outs were coming because this is what took so long to get this deal done. Once Cody Bellinger started retreating on the AAV and more the length of the contract, he was looking for more years. The Yankees were going to have to bend a little bit, but not break on this deal in order to give him opt-outs in case his performance does go up as he ages here, because he is, 29 or 30 years old at this point? The point is, like, they were giving him an option in order to make more money later on. But it was, we're not going to trade you, and we're going to give you 5 years, money, $20 million signing bonus. Is a real nice deal to play in New York, where candidly he's had the second most home runs in a season besides his MVP year in LA, like for the Dodgers. He's been with the Yankees last year, hit 29 bombs. So I love the short porch for Belly. I think that with Trent Grisham and Aaron Judge, you also have Giancarlo. We'll see what his status is. He'll probably get no outfield reps. Jason Dominguez is a big name I've heard on Talking Yanks and other outlets talking about the Yankees and their outfield depth problem. And by problem, they have a surplus. They also have another little fella, by little I mean 6'7", named Spencer Jones, who's a prospect. Big whiff, swing and whiff stuff. But when he connects with a baseball, he murders that baseball. And they're saying he could potentially play center field at some point as well. So you got a guy, if you can play center field, you can play left or right. And my point is, like, if Jones is a bit available to play center field at one point, they have Jones, they have Belly. Judge has played center field, and he's above average defender, if not a very good defender. And then, obviously, Jason Dominguez, the defense has now come along, but he's young still. He's 23. And I'm not giving up on him. I would hate to see the Yankees punt on Jason Dominguez and, move him for another controllable starter. But it's looking that way, honestly, Hagen. And honestly, do you ever think that the Yankees, it's not a done deal yet, and nothing's been said about, like, nothing's come out of Cashman's mouth about doing this, but, like, did you ever think the Yankees, today, as of today, Jason Dominguez is 22 years old, did you think the Yankees would move him before he turned 25 years old, the way he was hyped up as a prospect?
I mean, no. I mean, this guy was getting compared to all-time greats in MLB when he was coming up as a prospect. That probably didn't help help his struggles now, because now Yankees fans are pretty pissed because they thought they were getting Mickey Mantle when he came up. But I think obviously he's kind of the odd man out right now. I don't know if the Yankees trade him though, because he's still this young. Obviously, you see guys who come up at the big leagues as young as he does at 20 years old. They don't hit till they're 27 years old. There's just guys that are just like that. They just don't hit till they're later. Also, too, the Yankees haven't given him one pathway in his whatever. This is the third year they're going on. There's going to be 3 straight years he has no clear pathway to play every single day, and he's a bench player. And he's just got to slide in every other day, whatever, when there's an opening in the outfield. The DH's clock, because Stanton is there every single day. So You have to be Ben Rice in the lineup every single day too. I mean, the Yankees roster construction is just kind of so hard right now, and I think the biggest thing is the Stanton thing, just because he's clogging the DH. And granted, Stanton doesn't play 162, which makes it a little bit easier on that. But I don't see them moving him at all. I think you have to give him at least a couple seasons of full runway, and I know it's hard to find right now. But on the Bellinger deal itself, obviously we saw they had 5 for 160 laid out there, and it finished at 5 for 162. I wonder, I feel like that maybe the difference there was, I don't know if it was just putting the $2 million out there at the end that got over the finish line. I feel like it had to have been more like the signing bonus and the way the opt-outs work. Because if you look at it too, like if Cody Bellinger opts out after year 2, it's not like he's just getting, he's getting $60 million. With the way the signing bonus is working, he can collect $85 million from the Yankees in 2 years and then opt out and hit the market again. That's crazy.
So I also about Jason, last year, 10 bombs, and he only played in 429 plate appearances across 123 games. So roughly could have played another 40 games. Let's say he hits like 3 or 4 more bombs. The guy batted .260 and stole 23 bags last year. And if you look at the stolen base leaders, I've been looking at it now because I'm kind of curious. Jason Dominguez, he was tied at 32nd overall for 23 bags last year. How many guys do you think had less games than him that stole more bags?
3 or 4.
I'm looking right now. I'm on the top 25, and I see one guy, Jake Magnum, had played 118, and he had 27, and then Luis Robert, he played in 110 and had 33 stolen bases last year. And then the last one, Chandler Simpson, he played 109 games. The guy stole 44 bases. He's also as fast as lightning, Chandler Simpson. He's like one of the best base stealers in all of baseball. So like, your guess was 1, impeccable, but 2, like Jason Dominguez was top 25 in the league in stolen bases last year. He played 40 less games, not 40 less games than everyone on that list, but he missed essentially 40 games of play. He could be how many guys in the Yankees are you impressed with their bases and how many they steal? Not many.
Jose Caballero and him.
Jazz Chisholm, but Jazz Chisholm's a tradable guy, and like who knows what I've heard the Yankees rumored to trade Jazz Chisholm to Philly. I've heard them trade him in general, just move him for like controllable pieces. I don't know what's going on with Jazz Chisholm. He doesn't strike me as a career Yankee, even though I love Jazz Chisholm. I want him to be on the Yankees. I don't know. I just something to call out about Jason before they move him. So I think you're right. They got to give him more time. But this is a very real reality where like the Yankees' hand might be forced to move him if the price is right. And it would just kill me on the inside if they move him and then he just pans out and he's like, not Mickey Mantle, but Mickey Mantle.
And real quick too, before we move off the Yankees here, I think just the Cody Bellinger front, I think we just, like you said, like it seemed like it was inevitable to happen here. I think the Yankees needed Cody Bellinger back. We all knew that. And I think Bellinger needed the Yankees back because who the hell else was going to sign him? It didn't seem like anyone else really wanted to give him 5 years at most, even though he wanted 7. But you look at his numbers last year in Yankee Stadium. I mean, at home last year, he was 52% above league average as a hitter with a 900 OPS. When he's on the road, he was 3% below league average as a hitter with a 700 OPS. That's how much Yankee Stadium benefited him last year. 200 points in OPS.
Home field advantage. But yeah, and so final thing on Belly before we move on. After this deal, the highest AAV among outfielders, this is according to Just Baseball, who put this tweet out there. Kyle Tucker's at 60 million, Juan Soto's at 51, Aaron Judge at 40, Mike Trout at 35.5, now Bellinger at 32.5. So the Yankees, and that's not including 1 year Trent Grisham, who I think he got $20 million or like $18 million, whatever it was. The Yankees have 2 of the top 5 outfielders in AAV. And yes, it was the number 1 offense for outfielders last year. But they're spending a lot of money between 3 guys. And that doesn't include if Stanton plays enough games to qualify for the outfield. Because that would be the most expensive outfield probably ever if you combined all 4 of those guys. Let's move on. Nationals, they made a big move today. They did what has been rumored for weeks, if not months now, that they were going to trade their young ace, Mackenzie Gore. So they move him to Texas. This was confirmed to The Athletic. Ken Rosenthal put this out. This happened earlier today. So the Nationals are going to receive 5 players in the deal, including the 2025 first rounder pick from the Texans, Gavin Feen, sorry. So they also get, it was their number 2 prospect in the system. They get Alejandro Rosario, their number 6 prospect, Devin Fitzgerald, number 12 prospect, who a lot of people like Fitzgerald, Yoremi Cabrera, who's number 16, and then Amalek Ortiz, their number 18. So Texas has given up 5 top 20 prospects in their system for a system I didn't think was that deep to begin with. And Texas, they moved Marcus Semien this offseason to the Mets. Jacob deGrom, Evan Carter was injured. I'm trying to think. Obviously, Wyatt Langford, we're hoping big things for. Hopefully, oh my gosh, who am I forgetting? Shortstop. Oh my good.
Corey Seager.
Crapped out hard there with a brain fart. What's Texas's identity, Hagen? What do you take from this move?
I honestly don't really know. I think this shows that they're really trying to win the division here. I mean, you look at this rotation now, adding Mackenzie Gore into it. He's going to slot in as the 3. I mean, we forget last year that Nathan Eovaldi had 130 innings and had a 1.7 ERA, and he's not even the ace of the staff. It's Jacob deGrom, who's still the top 10 to 15 pitcher on planet Earth right now. He's not the old deGrom, but he's still a very, very good pitcher in Major League Baseball. And obviously, you had Mackenzie Gore there as a 3. I really like this rotation. My issue is that this rotation could so easily just turn into one of the worst in baseball. What I mean by that is, like, deGrom, we all know, has the injury history. I was big on deGrom staying healthy this year. I'm still going to be healthy on that. But deGrom, you don't want to put – deGrom's going to have some injury issues. You just can't bank on him to stay healthy for a full 162, even though I really want that to happen. Eovaldi's dealt with some injury issues the last couple of years. Mackenzie Gore, he pitches like an all-star in the first half. The second half, he's been awful every single year of his career. He sucks in the second half. So I feel like Texas has to have had someone they've looked at and said, we can figure out what his second half issues are. They've done the deep dive on, and they said, we think we have to fix on what the second half issues are, because you need these guys like deGrom and Eovaldi when they're getting later into the season. That's when you're going to really need Mackenzie Gore to step up in that rotation there, take the load off those guys who are 37 years old, 40 years old, and those guys in the rotation there. But I really like this move for Texas to go out there and get a guy like this to help supplement the rotation for him.
Yeah, he definitely racks up the strikeouts. So just a 4.17 ERA, and he has a career 4.19. I don't love that, moving 5 prospects. I guess if we really look at it, he is only 26 and he's coming off an all-star year. He also threw, the second most innings he's ever thrown in a year last year, following up just 7 short of his 2024 season. But I don't know. I don't love this. They also, obviously, I think they sold at the right time. And by sold, letting Adolis Garcia go, and he's obviously part of Philly now. I don't know what Texas is trying to do. And I think they need to add several bats and several bullpen guys in order to make this a real contender in the West, because I think the Athletics are due to really show out a little bit. I think the Astros made a ton of improvements to their roster, and their roster, we forget, the Astros were in it till the end last year, and they missed Jordan Alvarez for 90% of the year. They also, who got injured? They missed Hayden Wisniewski out of the rotation. They just added Tatsuya Imai to the rotation. They're getting a lot of guys, and they're getting a lot of guys back. Trying to think who else was missing. Obviously, I didn't even mention they lose Luis Garcia. He's now a Met as well, right? He signed for 1 year with the Mets this week.
Different Luis Garcia. They got the older reliever one.
Oh, my bad. I read that wrong.
It's literally spelled the exact same way for both their guys too.
Okay. I knew he was dealing with injuries, but you know what I mean. They got guys coming back. They added guys. I think the West, between that, the Athletics, they're young and they look really good. If they added some pitching, who knows what they do. And then on top of that, the Angels made a bunch of improvements. They added Juan Moncada this week. That's not a massive improvement, but the Angels, we've been mentioning it all year, have been upgrading. And that leaves the Mariners, who Mariners still arguably have the best rotation in baseball, on top of Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and co. Um, I I don't know what the Rangers are trying to do here. I would not have given up my top five of my top 20 prospects to go get Mackenzie Gore. It just, I don't know. I think this is a bad move.
I mean, it was weird when you saw that it was obviously shout out John Heyman, who was the first one to break the news saying he was getting traded over there to the Texas Rangers. But then it comes out from Robert Murray saying there's 5 players included going back, and it was whoa. I don't remember the last time I saw 5 prospects traded for an All-Star caliber pitcher. It was kind of weird. I guess you do that to not give the true headliner with Sebastian Walcott back. Obviously, you want to do that in the first place, but I think this division too, though, is just it's sneakily becoming very fun to watch. I mean, last year thought it was gonna be a really fun division to watch, and all just teams were just kind of mid. Like obviously not mid, but like I was high on the Rangers. I thought the Rangers were gonna be really good too. They were not good last year. The A's I thought were gonna be pretty good last year. They were one of the worst bad teams, one of the best bad teams I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they hit the shit out of the ball, but they couldn't pitch at all. But now the A's are a year older now. You get the Rangers doing this now. Add that with the Astros and the Mariners on the top, with the Angels making improvements. This division's getting pretty good.
Dude, I'm so excited to watch the Athletics with Shea Bangaliers, Brent Rooker, Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Zach Galoff if he bounces back. I love the A's lineups low key. But let's keep moving. The Rangers also did add Jacob Junis to the bullpen this week, but again, I'm still confused on their identity and what they're trying to do. Besides, I get they're trying to win, but I don't think that's in the cards. You're not the 2023 Rangers anymore. This is a different team, almost completely. One thing I want to call out before we get into the little news and injuries here this week: Phillies Nets. I love it. The tensions are rising, and this is all coming out based off Bo Bichette. So, Philly, I'm going to give the highlights, and I want Hagen, I want to hear your take on this as being the Met fan here. Philly was livid at Bichette for signing with the Mets for 3 years, $126 million. So Zielecki, he confirmed the Phillies offer was for 7 years, $200 million, and multiple reports at this time listed the Phillies as a significant frontrunner to get him. So, reporter here is saying that this was a confirmed offer from Philly, 7 years, $200 million. Instead, Bichette takes 3 years, $126 with the Mets. Where is this going to be war this year between Philly and New York?
It's going to be war, but the Mets are going to come out on top. I mean, I think the Mets are the clear better team right now. I think I love this too. This kind of adds more to the rivalry here too. I mean, you said there was the 7 for $250 they offered him. Funny enough, Bo Bichette's camp is the one that asked the Phillies if they would accept that deal, and the Phillies said, "Yeah, we'll give you that." And then the Phillies thought they had him signed. Dombrowski even talked about it too, saying, "I thought we had him," in a press conference. And that was the night that Kyle Tucker signed as well, that they accepted, that they said, "Hey, we give you the $200 million for 7 years." Phillies wake up in the morning, and all of a sudden, Bo Bichette's a New York Met. And that's the craziest part. And I know Bichette seemed like he came out of nowhere, even for me, who keeps up to date with every single Mets, everything going on. It came as a shock to me, but I mean, they said the Mets have been talking to Bichette for 3 months now, 2 months now. So that was their pivot move. I mean, I love seeing the Mets take away a guy from the Phillies. And you can say, 3 years, the money for Bo Bichette. I don't care. Our owner's a top 100 richest person in the world. It's not my money. The Mets obviously don't care either, and they wanted to make their team good. And also, too, I mean, you take them away from your division rival. I mean, probably your biggest rival in the sport, make their team not as good, especially when their pivot was just adding back JT Realmuto, and they're going to be done for the offseason most likely. And you get better. So, I mean, I love to see this. I mean, I was even talking to my buddy Joe, who's a Phillies fan, for a week and a half before this even happened, saying Bo Bichette is a Philly. We just marked it up like that. And then it happened. So it came to a shock to me as well. But I love to see the Mets do that to the Phillies.
Of course you do. I love this. I love rivalries, especially ones interdivision, like Yankees, Red Sox, even though I'll say this. Over to my left here at my Yankee wall, it's all pictures of Yankees. There's only one photo that has a Yankee in it, and it has one other player from one other team, and it's the Boston Red Sox, and it's a picture of DiMaggio and Ted Williams sitting together. It's the only one I'll allow because I respect the rivalry. You got to respect Teddy Williams. But I love a good rivalry. It's what drives sports. It's honestly, when we hear about these garbage scams between PEDs and, tanking games to make bets on them. That's what pisses me off, and it's something that's just horrible. Sports are meant to be like a fierce competition, war on the field, and then after that, it's just a game at the end of the day. And I hate that stuff, and that's why like I love watching Yankees Boston. Those two teams hate each other when they're playing. They might even hate, like David Ortiz still hates the Yankees to this day. And he's not even playing anymore. I love that. I don't know if like, I'm rooting for violence here, woke up angry, but I love rivalries between sport teams. And I think Philly and the Mets, I think it's going to, Philly's got an excellent lineup. Mets have an excellent lineup. Both of them have shaky, I'm not going to say shaky, questionable rotations of what's going on. Both have lots of talent. I think we're getting set up here to see, and both bullpens are, for that matter, both really good as well. I think we're going to have some great series in 2026 between Philly and New York.
And then you mix in too, just having the Atlanta Braves in the division too, who are arguably still the best team in the division. I mean, I would probably toss it between Braves and Mets in my opinion right now. I have the Mets bias there, so I'd probably put the Mets above them right now. But I think most people would probably say the Braves over the Mets and then the Phillies there. So, I mean, historically too, the Mets beat up on the Phillies beat up on the Braves beat up on the Mets. So we'll see if that stays true again this year.
Dude, I don't know. I really like Atlanta this year. Like, I know they haven't done anything the last 2 years, but it's like Acuna, Riley, they got Sale, they got Schwellenbach, Strider, Robert Suarez now. They have a bunch of talent, and there's guys I'm missing, like Matt Olson, massive players. Rookie of the year last year, Drake Baldwin behind the dish. Like, I think Atlanta, with the upgrades they've made to their bullpen, Raciel Iglesias, they're going to be so good, Hagen. They're going to be so good. Speaking of Atlanta, though, they did, unfortunately, they signed Ha-Seong Kim earlier this year to a deal. And he just fell on slipping on ice. He's missing at least half the season, so they have to add Jorge Mateo to a 1-year deal to, make up for that. So that's really, I hate seeing that for Atlanta because they have had their fair share of injury struggles the last 2 seasons. And it's like, it's January 22nd, and they're now missing an everyday starter for at least half the season. We mentioned Makata.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, it does suck for Atlanta getting Ha-Seong Kim in there because the Braves, that was kind of the best shortstop they've had probably since Dansby, you could argue, since he left the team. And then you look at it now, you got Ha-Seong Kim in there, gets hurts his finger. And now you have Mauricio Dubon, who's normally a utility man. That's kind of what his value is, but he's not a good hitter at all. So you're just running it back with the good shortstop defensively with the bad offense. So it's just the same thing the Braves have been running out in shortstop the last couple of years. Obviously, their team's good enough where it's not like they're going to be hurt too much, but obviously just suck losing that. I mean, they're still top 2-3 team in baseball right now, even losing out on Ha-Seong Kim, but you'll get back for the postseason.
Yeah. Mookie Betts confirms 2032 is going to be his last season in baseball. So we still got plenty of Mookie Betts to watch, but I kind of like it when guys like announce it instead of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, nope, I'm going to be done then. Like, there's no need to raise questions and drama about it. I'm out. Fun fact, my buddy has given Mookie Betts pickleball lessons. We'll talk about that after. My buddy, like, long story short, one of my old buddies he's like Mr. Pickleball now. And like literally you go look at his Instagram. He's played with like Drew Brees, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bushes. He like every famous celebrity goes to him for pickleball. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones, they make the Hall of Fame. I was all in on Andrew Jones making it. Beltran obviously on the field deserved it. Some questionable character stuff involved with the Houston cheating scandal with the garbage cans back in 2017. That was, I think. So been almost a decade since that happened. Hagen, what are your thoughts on Beltran getting in with that on his resume? Too good to not get in.
I honestly don't give a shit about it. Like, I really didn't care that much about the cheating scandal in the first place. I know that's not like people don't want to hear that, but I mean, it's been 9 years, guys. Move on. Like all the Yankee fans that say, "Oh, we won the World Series." No, you still had to beat the Dodgers that year. I mean, there was no guarantee you were going to do that. I'd be pissed too if I was a Yankees fan, but stop acting like you would have won the World Series because that wasn't a guarantee.
They did
But
not.
good for Beltran though to get into the Hall of Fame. He's most likely going to get number 15 retired by the Mets now. Now he goes in as a Met. But it's good to see him get in. Andrew Jones too. I feel like he's been someone that's just been snubbed year after year after year on the ballots here. I think deserved to be in there in here. And I think Plaston said too that they're the third and fourth center fielders to be added into the Hall of Fame since I believe 1990. So it's been a very slim position adding with Kirby Puckett and Ken Griffey Jr. in there. So congrats to both those guys. They both really deserve it.
I'll say this. The Dodgers did not have Shohei Ohtani back when that happened. They were beatable then. They were beatable. Yeah. Good for Beltran. Good for Jones. Yadier Molina, future Hall of Famer here. He's returning back to his organization, the St. Louis Cardinals, to be a special assistant to the president of baseball operations. So that's Chaim Bloom. And he's going to work with Cardinals catchers and in the minor league system to help develop them. So he's one of the best catchers. I don't think this is crazy the game's ever seen. I think that's a fair statement. Everyone's been talking about how smart he is, baseball. His mind is incredible, and they think he'd be a great manager at some point. So I think this is the beginning of him getting back into it and really committing to his club. And we'll see what they do at the manager position, when time comes, when push comes to shove, when Yadier is ready. But I love this for the Cardinals. I think that this is like, Chaim Bloom's an excellent executive, adding Yadier Molina. They're doing all the right things off the field right now.
I mean, yeah, it's great to see him do this. Obviously, he seemed kind of like a guy, whether it was going to be, is he going to be a manager? What's he going to do down the road? I think everyone kind of knew he was going to do something, whether with a team at Major League Baseball after he retired. And I like this too, because not only is he going to be able to develop these guys and help the minor leaguers out, but they're going to be able to pick his brain. I mean, you sit there with Yadier Molina, they're coaching every single day. Just the little things you can pick his brain on him. Hey, what do you do this a certain way? What do you do that a certain way? I mean, it's just a really cool thing for those guys to be able to work with him, and one of the best defensive catchers we've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely is. Let's talk what else we got. So the Tampa Bay Rays, they've officially identified their preferred location for a new ballpark. The first step in this process, so they're looking to secure their long-term future in the Tampa Bay area. So it looks like it's going to be on the campus of a college called Hillsborough College. And it looks like the Hillsborough College District Board of Trustees, they voted unanimously to approve this, plan and moving forward. So it's a crazy idea to put from what I'm reading, it sounds like they're going to put this on a college campus. I'm going to look in relation to where it is in the St. Petersburg, because I've been to the Tampa Bay Stadium that's in St. Pete. I don't know if I like this or not. It seems like that's kind of weird, no?
I mean, it does seem pretty weird. I'd have to read up more on it to see the exact specifics of it all, and like you were saying, the location exactly. But it's weird too because I spent, I believe, like $50 million just to refix the roof on the Trop to go back there. So then it's like that's only gonna last for a few years. I know you don't want to play in a minor league ballpark, whatever, 5 years, but it kind of sucks. You just spend $50 million for teams that like to spend money and then have to move then soon. But I know the big thing too with the Trop, the people's issue is just the location where they're saying it's just so hard to get to and it takes so long to get there. And so I think it's a good stadium, a good idea for them to move their stadium in the first place. But obviously these guys probably know this a lot better than I would.
So they are, yeah, and I will agree. There's 3 bridges essentially to get from the Tampa area over to St. Pete, and that it's a little peninsula. And that they used to be over there. Now it looks like it's going to be right next to the airport, where this college campus is. It'll be in the heart of downtown Tampa. I don't know geographically where a majority of the people live in Tampa Bay, but I'm sure they've looked into this. It seemed weird to me, like this is where the ballpark's going, but good for Tampa Bay. They need to upgrade their stadium desperately because the only cool thing about Tampa Bay in that stadium was the Ray tank, and they better keep that and make it bigger. I think they should do the entire outfield wall where it's like glass and it'd be raised underneath and see-through. That's something to bring to a cool stadium.
That would be awesome to watch that. See a guy run into a wall, make a catch, and there's a bunch of stingrays in the background while he's running into the wall. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's like plexiglass, and there's a net above there's a net above the Ray tank now, but it's like, the Ray tank is maybe 3-4 times the size of this room. It's big, but it's not like that big. Make it the whole wall. You can't get fans anyway. You don't need seats down there at the bottom of the wall. I think it'd be crazy. Let's talk real quick about the labor. We said we're going to do a full episode on this, but MLB owners, they are pissed about the Kyle Tucker deal. And it's right now, a lot of people are looking like it's a quote unquote, from where I took this, 100% certainty that the owners are going to push for a salary cap. So this is from The Athletic. One person briefed ownership on conversations who is not authorized to speak publicly, said this. So it's someone close, but not, I don't know, it's close to the story, but at the same time, like, baseball's never had a salary cap, and it just seems like the players' union's never going to go for it. It's like anti-athlete to put a salary cap on. We'll see how this develops. What do you think? If you had to answer right now, do you think there'll be a salary cap at the end of this lockout coming up in 2027?
I'm 100% certain there's not going to be a salary cap in Major League Baseball. The last time the owners fought for a salary cap was the only time that we've lost a full season in the World Series due to the labor dispute there. It's not going to happen. I know the owners are going to push for it. It's not going to happen. If you want to agree to that and you want to get rid of arbitration and make guys controllable for 2 to 3 years, yeah, then they'll accept it. Let us hit free agency after 3 years in the major leagues. Owners aren't going to do that. So stop asking for a salary cap. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I wish more people outside of baseball, like everyone said, like the problem is right now, the laissez-faire fans of baseball, the people who like get an ESPN alert, like, oh, Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers, like, don't understand, one, that all these ownership teams, owners can invite new owners to join them, and they could sell like a portion of the team, like, a controlling stake, and boost their pool in order to be competitive. That's number one. Number two, it's if you're for the billionaires versus the athletes, okay, that's your personal preference, but like, it's anti-athlete to put a salary cap on. You were saying we're limiting how much this entire roster can make, which, you're there to make a contract, like make payments and, pay for your bills if you're an athlete and you only work for so long. A lot of these guys don't have, Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto deals. A lot of these guys, like Jacob Junis, we just talked about him earlier. He's a reliever. He's had a fine MLB career. He's making $4 million next year. How many more years of that does he have? And then he's done working in professional sports. Yeah, he might have to get a real job, but like, the whole goal for them to do this and get these contracts is so they'd never have to work again. That's the whole point of this concept, getting to that level. So we'll see what happens. I love the 100% take. I'm with you. After hearing that, I did not know the only other time that they pushed for it was when the full lockout happened. I just was not familiar with the situation. I, was aware of the lockout, but wasn't aware that it was strictly due to the salary cap.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. And just one more thing too on the salary cap is, like, your people saying, like, people that just get pissed off about it the most of the people that are the casual fans of baseball don't really do that. Like that, I'm not saying the casual fans should know the structure of the CBA. That they shouldn't. They should be able to watch baseball and do it. But when they start saying stuff about they're ruining the sport, doing all this, they didn't realize, like, signing Kyle Tucker $60 million a year, that cost him about $140 million a year to sign Kyle Tucker because where they're at in the tax structure right now. I think the salary cap's not going to happen, but we might see the salary tax at, instead of 110%, where you're at where the Mets and the Dodgers at right now, maybe it's 200% or just some crazy high number. And then maybe you get rid of more draft picks, and maybe instead of $1 million in international free agency, it's going to be whatever on QO, it's going to be $2 million. They're just going to keep penalizing teams in the draft. So then in your future, it's hurting your future that way. A salary cap is not the solution to this.
And everyone, my other point, I got sidetracked and lost my train of thought. We put it out because you brought it up. We probably talked about it the entire playoffs this year. Baseball had the longest going run of not having a repeat champion. So for all those people making a BS lazy argument that, oh, there's no parity, it's the Dodgers, it's like, No, this was the first repeat champion since the Yankees did it back in like 1998, 1999, or 99, 2000, whatever it was. It was only like 20 plus years. In every other sport, you had the Blackhawks. You had I'm pretty sure the Hurricanes or the Panthers just won 2 in a row in hockey. I don't even watch the NHL, but I know there was a repeat champion recently. And then on top of that, you have like in football, the Chiefs, the Patriots. Like you have repeat champions all the time. I just don't get the argument. And it seems like Yankee and baseball is just way more weird like that, you know?
And not even two. It's like they had the repeat. Yes, so the argument's like, oh, well, the first time they finally repeated. Are we going to ignore the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays just completely choked away the World Series in Game 6 and 7? They choked it away. They should have had the World Series. If they didn't get double off at second, they probably win that game in Game 6 if there wasn't a dumbass base running decision there. If IKF gets one more step off the lead at third base in Game 7, you win the World Series. If you let less than 5 feet off the bag, you win the World Series. If the Dodgers had Miguel Rojas and everybody hit a home run to tie the game for him or take the lead for him, you had an insane catch of Andy Pajes and Kike Hernandez colliding into each other. I mean, the Blue Jays blew it. We can't forget that.
Yeah. No, noted. Like how many if and or buts could have changed it. Toronto should have won. Last take. Knuckleballer Wilbur Wood. He was with the White Sox for 17 years, from 61 to 1978. Passed away on Saturday. He's 84 years old, so another legend of the game, Knuckleballer. Hate to see it because we don't really get to see it that often in baseball anymore. He passed away, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family. That's the end of the episode for me. I don't really have much more news since we recorded on the 17th. Tonight is the 22nd, so this will go out tonight, and most people will see it tomorrow morning. Hagen, anything else from you?
I just got to say, let's go Broncos, and let's get a win this weekend with Jarrett Stidham.
For all those who don't know, Hagen is a Broncos fan. If you're still with us, got to give him some respect because that's real tough, losing your starting quarterback right after you just won to advance to the AFC Championship game. So good luck. Wish you good luck. We don't want to see the Patriots become a dynasty again. So thank you for listening. Follow us on social media and grab your merch. Read some of the articles coming out this week in our top 10s list that Dean has been putting out on the main Twitter account. And that's it from us. Thanks. Bye.